Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Stirring the Pot. It is the off-season, officially. This is our first off-season episode of the year. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to have a lot of off-season content coming up for you guys in the near future. But today, we've got the normal crew in the room with us. I got Dom, John, RJ, and myself, as always. Before we get into some talk about some games of the year, we're going to go over NFL.com's top 10 and then talk about a little off-season storylines with you guys today. But before we get into all that, there's a lot to unpack because we've got a basketball game coming up on Thursday. This is being recorded on Wednesday. Tomorrow is the basketball game. As always, 2 days before we put the episodes out to you guys on Fridays. Guys, how are we feeling the day before a big game, playoff game?
I mean, to give context, our team shouldn't even be here. In true NFC South fashion, we have made the playoffs with a losing record. Actually, we haven't even won a game.
We're 0-2.
We're 0-2. But there's a little bit of upside for this week because we're playing a team that we played last week that we only lost to by 4 points. Don't worry, we'll release a full podcast episode talking about the whole team and its endeavors and how John is like a paint beast.
And a good thing to note is that our team captain, Connor Roberts of U92, he's a redshirt senior in this year, but redshirt senior guard Connor Roberts will be playing this game. He did not play last game. We lost by 4 points. It's a big addition to a team that definitely needed a nice injection of scoring.
I hope our coach, the great, the honorable, the Michigan man himself, Brett Burner, does not pull a UCLA last night and eject his own player for a common foul. That was insane. That was like, I can't believe it wasn't even a bad foul. Like it was like knocked the ball out.
Yesterday was a locale week of college basketball.
This is college basketball is probably the only sport on right now. But we got the draft coming up for the NFL, so as you know, the draft is very important to our poverty franchises.
Yeah,
hi RJ, hi Connor.
Yeah, hello.
Speaking of basketball and football, if you're interested in a podcast that talks about basketball and football, listen to Kickoffs and Tip-Offs by Matt Foley and Brett Burner. Quick shout out.
You beat me to it, Dom.
He knows it's a plug now.
I was about to get there. Yeah, they'll get you covered for college football and basketball. We have you here though for the fun NFL parts. This is the off season. This is the draft. We'll be getting into some off season storylines, and we're also gonna have some fun today as well.
This is the time we get to have fun before we really talk about the draft.
These are the episodes that got us our viewership. Honestly,
Antonio Brown,
the fun ones. Oh, the Antonio Brown Twitter rant was great.
Or us just going for the criminals of 2020 draft class.
That was
the
really funny.
Isaiah Wilson, who?
In the coming weeks, you guys will get a mock draft, and if you guys are consistent listeners to this podcast, you know that those are the best episodes that we put out because there is a lot of debating. So we'll get into those in the near future, but right now, since the season ended last week, we're going to go over some of the games of the week here games of the year. Sorry, my apologies. My brain isn't something's not firing up there right now, but let's go over NFL.com's Games of the Year. Now, we'll get into it in a little bit because there is a bit of a snub on this list. One of the ones that it said, hey, they're just off the list. And it was a great game between two people on this podcast's favorite teams. I'm sitting across from them. It was the Steelers and the Jets.
That was a pretty good game.
It's not on the list.
They counted the Week 1 matchup as one of the best, top 10?
No, they took it out barely.
I mean, it's hard because none of the teams really accomplished anything that year because,
games of the year don't necessarily pertain to, the grand scheme of things. It's just
like
the
fun.
best. It's the most fun games.
I mean, people thought Justin Fields was going to be like a Pro Bowler after. I was like, oh my God, Aaron Glenn's the best coach in the league. He's going to win Coach of the Year. We're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, and then halfway into the year, you wanted him to can.
It's just the Jets, so they went back to earth.
I think it's just surprising because me and John went into that week. We're like, oh, it's going to be like 3-10. Then ended up being like some shootout.
34-32.
Yep. I'm surprised it was a 2-point game. I thought it was going to be Steelers by firing squad.
Chris Boswell hit his career long to end that game.
Yes, he did.
60 yards, which is crazy.
That would have been good from 70.
It's crazy that Chris Boswell's career long is 60.
That is
I feel like he's got so much better of a leg than that.
He's actually 93 points away from leading the Steelers with the most scoring points. So give it 2 more seasons.
Doesn't have that already.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been there for a while.
How close is he to Morton Anderson's record?
I have no idea.
in terms of NFL points?
All-time
No,
points.
Vinatieri has a record.
Oh, is it?
Vinatieri.
Yeah,
I
Morton.
thought Morton was the old
Morton
leader.
has a kid who was 48 years old, I think. What a legend.
Shout out Adam
Hall of
Vinatieri for getting the nod for the Hall of
Finally.
Fame.
Yes,
Finally.
the last week.
Took him
I don't
long
get how
enough.
he's not first ballot. I'm sorry. He's the best kicker in NFL history.
That's ridiculous.
Just pure
But
money.
let's get into NFL.com's top 10 games of the year. Number 10 is starting with a game that's a little more fresh in our minds than some of the games on this list, a wild card game. It's the Buffalo Bills versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, one that John and I listened to on the radio with those fabled commentators that we love. And he gets 2 yards.
I love the West One commentators. They're my favorite people on planet.
That was
I love them.
That was also a Buffalo Bills
That
playoff
was also
game. That was
both
Bills
times we've driven
Broncos.
here. We've listened to Bills playoff games from winter break.
They're always electric, and they don't need to be electric. At the end, they need to be electric. But we heard that call on the radio with the Trevor Lawrence back-breaking interception to end that game. This game was so much fun, and I mean, it showcased that the Jags are here and that the Bills were just marginally better than them.
I mean, this game, historical-wise, I think that was it's been a while since Buffalo, won a road playoff game.
It has been a while.
For a long time. I forget how many years it's
It was
been.
1992 AFC Championship game was their last road playoff win.
Yeah, so you have a decade or two in between their last road playoff win. And I mean, and my favorite part about the end of that game was what that one reporter had to say to Liam Cohen and how they basically said how good of a job he's done this season, how much he's helped the Jaguars program to rise. After last year, they had some controversies. And, I mean, we went over this, I think it was last week, over the NFL awards, how he was second to almost getting Coach of the Year, deserving enough.
Yeah, I tell you, this game was pretty interesting. Me and Dom were watching that back and forth fourth quarter in the apartments. We were kind of split 2-2 here. But I tell you what, this game was it's electric football, and especially in the wild card round of the playoffs. This game was one of the reasons why everybody was like, wow, this is why you call it Super Wild Card Weekend, because almost all the wild card games were either close or very entertaining in some form. This game was up there. I thought Jacksonville was going to have it, but that Lawrence interception throw at the end just was a killer, but back and forth. We didn't know how Buffalo was going to go on, and we knew how their season ended, but still, really great game.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of fun games on this list, but I think this one was one of my favorites. I mean, especially with the radio call. That was so much fun to just keep up with. It felt like I was in a different time era, which was really fun. It was a little refreshing to not have to watch it with all those ads on TV. It was great. But going on to number 9 with NFL.com, it's the Bears at the Niners, 42-38 49ers. This was week 17. This was one of the decisive games in the NFC number 1 seed race. And this is kind of what propelled the Seahawks into that number 1 seed. It was the Niners over the Bears. The Bears were really, really hot. They were on a hot streak with Caleb Williams, but in the end, the Niners took this one 42-38 at Levi's Stadium.
I mean, this game, both of those teams, the Bears they had all the momentum at this part of the season. I thought they were going to make a deep playoff run. I mean, they made it further than what most people expected them to start with. But Ben Johnson and the way that this offense is running, I mean, was running at this point in the season, it just didn't seem like anything could stop them, not even a brick wall. And to the 49ers, I mean, you get X amount of injuries throughout the year. Brandon Ayuk just disappears in a puff of smoke and will probably never be seen again. Maybe not. I don't know. Could be a AB type of situation where you might see him for play 2 weeks for one team and then just disappear off the face of the planet again, then commit insert crime here, and that's the end of his career. But yeah, this game was good. The 49ers, they're always a team that has grit. They'll give you their best effort. They'll put up a fight. But, I mean, for both of these teams being in the playoffs, it had a lot of implications.
Yeah, this game was nuts. I know Chicago is coming in here winning 7 of their last 8. One of the reasons why the schedule took kind of a little bit to announce after this game is because this game mattered into that scheduling, as Connor said, for the NFC playoff picture and especially that number 1 seed race. This game was back and forth. I mean, Collinsworth said you can't sleep at night with the Chicago team this past season for a reason. Just the cardiac Bears almost did it again. Fell just short. I know that was one of the last few plays in the end zone where Caleb couldn't find anything. But I tell you, this game was so entertaining to watch. I was keeping back and forth watch a little bit because this game was over break. So I was I think I was playing Madden watching this at the same time. But still, this game was really electric to watch. And San Francisco getting that win, dropped an insane first half, 28 total points. It's just a lot of fun between two really good squads in the NFC. And I think really, if you have games like this, especially on the primetime window, the NFL will be good for years to come.
All right, going into rank number 8 on NFL.com's Game of the Year list. This one was one that I watched, and I did not believe it until I saw it. The Rams were up 26-7 on the Eagles, and the Eagles ended up winning 33-26. Do you want to know what the last part of that game was?
What?
A pair of blocked field goals by the Eagles, and Jordan Davis running it back 61 yards. Yes, 336-pound Jordan Davis running back a 61-yard blocked field goal for a touchdown. Do you guys remember this game?
This is pretty good.
This was early. This was like week
This is week
4
two.
or week 5.
This is week 3.
Okay, so like right before quarter season came.
And it's funny how you can go down.
I think this was this specific week where you saw that block kick in that game, and there was like this week was just there were so many blocked field
Jets
goals
blocked
or PAT
one.
attempts.
That was a record
The-
field.
The Bucs blocked. Was it the Buccaneers game?
The Jets
believe it
blocked
was
one
a
in the
record.
Buccaneers game. And they got back for touchdown.
Oh, and the Aaron Glenn
Aaron
dance.
Glenn was dancing. Yeah, when the Jets had hope. Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
It is funny how the Rams really probably got. I think this is one of the few teams that their special teams is completely going to scream out of Super Bowl this year. Their special teams completely. I mean, this play, special teams failure, and then the muff kick against Seattle in the championship game, which is what was the difference in that game. I mean, that's so crazy. The Rams were such a good team that really only just one small flaw just doomed them in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, the storyline of this game was the fact that the Eagles got held to 33 total yards in the first half. I thought that was crazy, but then it just was mutiny after that. The Rams couldn't get anything going in the second half, and the Eagles just came storming back. This is the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles at this point in Week 3, but this game was crazy. I remember hearing from a bunch of my friends back home that they were like going nuts with their parents in their living rooms after this game, but that game was crazy. On to number 7. This one's a little more fresh in our minds. Do you guys know about the Iceman? Mr. Iceman, the guy that I wanted to go on to win the Super Bowl this year, in Caleb Williams. In the divisional round of the NFC playoffs, there was one of the greatest moments that I've watched on live TV, and I thought it was going to end better for the Bears, but it did not. That Caleb Williams fadeaway touchdown with time basically expiring against the Rams. They were down 10-17. There was like 6 seconds left on the clock. Caleb Williams throws up a prayer off his back foot. Cole Kmet touchdown, sends it to overtime, and he throws a back-breaking interception, and the Rams win this game. Do you guys remember the divisional round game between the Rams and the Bears? That's number 7 on this list. I feel like it got kind of snubbed.
I somewhat remember this. I remember the specific throw that you're describing, Connor. I thought you were going to say the Packers game for a second, the first round of divisions. Is that to come?
That is number 2, I believe.
No way that's number 2.
There's 2 Bears-Packers matchups on this
There's
list.
no way if they didn't put the one game
Probably
I'm
sneaked a third
thinking
on.
about, then they're nuts.
Which one are you thinking about? We'll get into it.
We'll get
into
if we
it.
don't cover it, it's definitely worth the mention because it was probably the best game of the year, or that you'll never ever see again. But I mean, for this game, I thought the Packers game had way more of an impact, but because I eventually thought that Ben Johnson, as per usual, he came from Dan Campbell's coaching staff, so he takes from that book of, if it's fourth and whatever, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to put it all on the table. Doesn't matter what part of the game we're at, they're going to go for it. And you saw that a lot at the beginning of the Packers game, where you kind of just pay the price sometimes. But for this game, I mean, that one specific throw by Caleb Williams, I did not think it was even going to be remotely. I thought he was going to overshoot it, but absolutely perfect, right in the breadbasket. I forget, you said Cole Kmet.
It was Komet who caught it.
They're actually thinking about trading him in offers, but
They got to use Loveland to draft him so high. But, I mean, how many times have you seen a quarterback just running backwards, trying to find something in the last play of the game? I don't think I've ever seen that play work until this game. I don't think I've ever seen this game work until this game ever. Like, I think, honestly, that's probably the first time that this really ever, like, they pull something like this off. I mean, it's just like, it's like you're playing Madden and you start running backwards and you throw it up. But I kind of wish the Bears would win this game. That would probably make them win a lot cooler. So they probably didn't go down as one of those plays like Jermaine Kirk's at the Super Bowl. It's just forgotten because the team lost. But I think if you watch it, you know what happened. That's one of the craziest throws I think I've seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, watching that throw, back foot, that's probably maybe, 40 net yards around, if that. It's incredible. You don't see it, especially in such a situation like that. For Chicago, you're at home. The fan base, the crowd pop in Chicago is also really nuts to watch. And even the call by Tirico, everybody was going insane because nobody thought that Caleb was going to do that, and especially when you see him backed up all the way to it would have been his. It would have been their 35, 40-yard line, and you just heave up a ball, you're expecting a pick. But this is just part of why Chicago they were called the Cardiac Bears, trying to force it into OT. I mean, like mentioned earlier, the back-breaking interception by Kilble. He had 3 this game, so it was pretty tough. But besides that play, it's just a really great game. 2 back-and-forth teams, and LA pulled it off. And no, not Dom. John, I know you're talking about a person of trade in this game. There's also one that just popped up around 20 minutes ago that might have to deal with Connor's point later on in the episode.
It may indeed. But number 6 on this list is the first rendition of Bears-Packers that we're seeing on this list. This is Week 16. This is the OT game where DJ Moore caught a 46-yard dime down the seam for the win for the Bears. I think this was one of the best throws that I've seen from Caleb Williams. Obviously, there's a couple different ones that you could throw into the basket there, especially the one that we just talked about. But it was an absolute dart. They were coming back against the Packers. And, I mean, this was just the Bears' year to just own Green Bay.
I mean, this was a very refreshing year. This was a good year to maybe renew that rivalry because for so long the Green Bay Packers basically owned the Bears, or as in quote by Aaron Rodgers, "I own you," every time he would beat them. But, I mean, and then you got with the nitty-gritty of Ben Johnson just quickly walking by LaFleur and him going, "Oh, I enjoy beating LaFleur twice a year." And then watching Braden Laszlo get really upset every week that they played them was really funny, too. It was, I don't know, it was just great joy.
This is the regular season one, right? Not in the playoffs.
Regular season, yeah.
Wasn't there an onside kick in this game? I believe there was to end the game. The Packers probably had to put away, but the Bears got a crazy. I mean, every time I see an onside kick, it's a bit special. You don't really see them that often, especially with all these new rules. You can't get the surprise onside kick like the Saints did in the Super Bowl. So you kind of, I mean, I miss that. I wish they changed that back because those are always fun. But I mean, yeah, you can probably half this game can be Bears. I think half this list probably is Bears games. Probably make a whole list of just Bears games. They were the cardiac team of this year. Every year there's one of those teams. Every game just feels like it's down to the wire. And it's always fun to have these. This is supposed to be a rivalry. Before this year, I never really thought it was a rivalry because, I don't remember many games. I mean, they're never really good at the same time. I mean, obviously, there was that Jay Cutler game in 2010, I believe. Other than that, it's they're never really good at the same time. But this year, definitely felt like the year is hey, this is a real rivalry now for these two teams. I think they're going to be clashing for a lot longer, especially because these two coaches just do not like each other for some reason.
Yeah, you got two pretty youngerish coaches in the NFL for the two oldest storied teams in NFL history. This rivalry goes back early on in the 1900s. This game was insane. I know this is also the game that Jordan Love got hurt. Malik Willis had to come in for a little bit. There was that storyline, but yet again, cardiac Bears in the fourth quarter scoring 13 points. You get it to OT, you get the win. I'm telling you, this team was just prone for the comebacks this season. That's why there's a lot of Chicago on this list, is because they make some sort of insane comeback. Caleb Williams makes some great throw, and it's always ending up to be some great final finish. And Chicago got the win in this one, and I think Chicago needed this big time for the rivalry because for Ben Johnson, this is where all the little reports of, the hand. Well, I know the handshake was also later on, but this is what kind of brewed up to that point.
If we're talking about comebacks, then I'm thinking that a certain game is going to be on here. It has to be.
We'll see. We will see.
I'll be so upset if it's not ranked by the NFL.
We will see. Number 5 We're going to go through this list a little faster because we want to get towards some off-season storylines. But number 5 is Bills-Broncos in the divisional. That game was insane if you watched it. I was on the call, actually, for men's basketball versus Colorado, and I had a Denver Broncos fan as my color, Mr. Charlie Steensma of U92. But this game was insane. I think this really painted the picture for the AFC playoff picture because of Bo Nix's ankle injury. I thought Denver was a surefire in for the Super Bowl after this game. If you can beat the Bills like that in overtime, and I mean, obviously, this was the game where Josh Allen now has that picture of him crying in the press conference. I mean, he's doing about everything right. It's just they can't get over the hump. And you got to think next year is one of the final years of this Bills kind of insanity run of them going to the playoffs every year, looking like one of the best teams in the AFC. But this was crazy, and this game actually propelled the Bills to fire Sean McDermott. This was a big impact game for the NFL as a whole, but the Broncos came out on top on this one because of a PI call at the end of the game, which set up the game-winning field goal for the Denver Broncos. This game was insane, guys.
I mean, I would rank this game like 2 spots higher, honestly, because it doesn't matter which team you were on. If you were a Broncos fan, you're like, we won the game, but you're happy. They were happy for like a solid half hour, and then you get that news update. Bo Nix is out with this injury. He'll be out for the rest of the season. We've come this far for what kind of emotion? I mean, and you're the Bills. They had that emotion. Deion Dawkins and I think Josh Allen said, this one's on me. Connor, you said he was crying. Then Deion Dawkins got upset whenever reporters told him that. I mean, it was just emotional for both teams. But it just shows that the Bills have a lot to fix.
Yeah, the ref controversy remains strong with this one. This game ended on a couple pass interference calls in the final drive of the game, despite the refs showing very much not calling PIs most of the game, throughout most of the playoffs, honestly. But Bills got 2 unlucky ones there, and then obviously the famous is it a catch, is it not a catch, Brandon Cooks. Pretty bizarre game. I mean, Buffalo, this is probably the worst game Josh Allen's ever played in his career. They had that really dumb fumble before the halftime. It was one of the stupidest plays I think I've seen in my life, honestly. That might be in like the top 3 stupidest plays I've seen in my life, because if you're scrambling 70 yards, what are you going to get? And the Broncos get a field goal off that. But definitely one of the more bizarre games, a very consequential game, because this cost Sean McDermott his job, and the Bills got a new regime in there now, and I mean, a lot of changes are coming to this Bills team, probably because of this game.
Yeah, John, I could probably name the top play on that list for you. Mark Sanchez. Moving on, I think really for this Denver Broncos team that won and ended up getting into the AFC Championship because of this, it was a really back and forth game. I'm not going to lie. This is very enjoyable to watch. I was watching this because I think that was one of the times I was off. During the fourth quarter, all I knew is I took a shower, I came back. This game was in like the final 5 minutes, such back and forth. There was 20 points scored in this fourth quarter. This is really kind of what that second quarter really got the firehouse into the end. Obviously, what John talked about with that Cooks, was it a catch, picks, they were in a scenario. Thought the refs got the right call in the situation. If you're Josh Allen, you don't necessarily have to take that deep ball at that time. I know that back-breaking turnover that John also mentioned was a big reason. You don't just hold the ball like that and throw it backwards. One of the dumbest plays as well that I've seen in a long time.
All right, number 4 on this list is one of the most underrated games of the year. This was a full-on quarterback battle, and we thought it was going to be a 2-horse race for the MVP after this game because it was week 1. This game set the tone for the rest of the year. The Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens in week 1 had an absolute masterclass on offense. This was the game where Derrick Henry had 169 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Lamar had, this was Josh Allen's 394-yard passing game. The Ravens scored 40 points in 25 minutes of possession. Insane. But the Bills come out on top, 41-40. This was the Matt Prater walk-off field goal. That was insane. This completely set the tone for the rest of the season. And, I mean, what a way to start the season on Sunday Night Football with this absolute howitzer.
I mean, I remember a lot of players after that game were saying, I thought Matt Prater was a coach. They didn't even recognize the dude because I guess Tyler Bass had some injury. I don't know. He was out for most of the season. But after this, the Ravens would plummet and lose quite a few games after this because of Lamar's injury. Then they would come back and maybe get to a later game that will be mentioned. Probably not, honestly. But this was for a Sunday night, the first Sunday night game. This really just set the tone. I mean, a lot of primetime games this year in general, like Thursday night football games, Monday nights, were just, I don't know. A lot of them were very cinematic. Usually you don't get Thursday night football games that are that good. But a lot of enjoyable ones this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of set the tone for the year. I mean, two of the best quarterbacks of our generation going at it. It's kind of a shame that neither of these teams really accomplished much this year because, like, after this, I mean, a lot of people had these two teams going to the Super Bowl if not winning it this year. And obviously after this, this might have been the high point for both their seasons. But, I mean, what more can you ask for? It's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, two guys who are incredibly fun to watch, two guys who I think every NFL fan just enjoys having on their TV. And, I mean, whenever these two teams play, it feels like something crazy happens. Obviously, Mark Andrews last year as well in the divisional round.
Yeah, week one, both of these teams had different coaches than they do right now. Very interesting to see how long a season can be. Derrick Henry fumbled on this one. Shock. But really, this game was back and forth nuts. Pure offense, 81 total points. Lamar played great. Josh Allen played great. It was one of those back and forths. Derrick Henry obviously had 2 statement touchdowns. I mean, you can't ask for more in this game. It's offensive firepower, and especially week one of the year when that's what you tend to expect and usually doesn't happen. It was a big W for the fans.
Yeah, so we're going to go about polar opposite points of the season with these two games. That one was week one. This one is the NFC Championship game. That was a great game between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. You see these two teams a lot on this list, and I think every single matchup between these teams is on this list because these were the two best teams in the NFL, in my opinion. This was the Super Bowl. The NFC Championship was the winner of this game was going to beat the Pats. I feel like that was kind of obvious. But this game had pretty much everything. The offenses combined it for 900 total yards. We talked about this game 2 weeks ago, so let's be quick with this one.
I mean, these two teams played each other so many different times. My favorite matchup was, I think it'll be mentioned right after this, honestly. But so I'm not going to say that. It came down, and the Rams lost because they just didn't have enough time of possession. And you had that, I forget which, was it Colby Parkinson that didn't go out of bounds or like his knee was down for the final play, then the clock ran out. I think it was Colby Parkinson. I don't think it was Puka.
It was Puka.
You sure?
Well, the last play of the game was Puka.
The
last play of the game was Puka. I'm very sure.
It was either a tight end or Puka Nacua. But they just didn't have enough time to drive down the field. Because they beat the Carolina Panthers that way. They made their way all the way through the playoffs that way, where the other team didn't have enough time to score.
We got a lot of salt
or
about
reciprocate,
that game.
Whatever the Rams put up to match them. But great game. I mean, you have two loaded offenses clashing against each other. You're going to expect greatness from that. Two good defensive units. You're always going to get good plays from that. Arguably the 1 and 2 spot for power rankings.
Yeah, I think something to notice that the Rams in every playoff game that they played was a really close game every single time.
They have no secondary. So
that Panthers game was close. That game that they had against the Bears was close, and the loss to the Seahawks was close. So, I mean, this Rams team is just so adept at winning those close games, and I think that kind of boils down to the MVP, Matt Stafford. But I think Sean McVay has really come into his own as a play caller on that offense. They just know how to go down the field, and when you have somebody of the caliber of Matt Stafford, it shows.
Oh, I thought you were going to keep going, John.
We just watched it. We just watched this game.
We did just watch this game.
Fun game. I think the more interesting match was coming at number 1, I think, between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the NFC AFC title championship game weekend, the first one was garbage, and then you get this Rams Seahawks beauty that it was. We were having a lot of reactions in the apartment just due to the back and forth environment of this game. Rams Seahawks again. I don't think it's the last time we'll be hearing about these two teams.
Yeah, those the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship were like North and South Pole. That was like Jedi and Sith. It was one game was terrible, and then the aftermath was, oh my God, this is the greatest sport on earth. But
what spot are we at?
This is number 2 coming up.
So one of the games that I picked, I know is going to get disrespected right now.
So the number 1, John just mentioned. John got it right. That's a good poll. I think that's pretty obviously the best game of the year.
Which game?
The number 1 is the second matchup, I believe, between those two teams.
What's this one?
This one is Packers-Bears.
The divisional
You're
game.
kidding me.
The wild card.
Number
game.
two
didn't
is
include
the wild card comeback.
I know they
from
weren't
the
talking
Bears.
about
21-3.
Let's do this. Let's speed through these.
Let's talk about these
And then we'll
because
get some snubs.
because I have a game that got disrespected as well.
I have 2 games that got disrespected.
Is it an NFC East matchup?
No, it's an AFC
Okay.
West matchup.
Oh.
Versus an FC East team.
I know what you're talking
You know which
about.
one I'm talking
AFC,
about.
it's
That
the
was
AFC
one of the
West
games of the
versus
year.
NFC
Packers
East.
Okay.
Bears. Packers Bears.
Okay, so number 2 is Packers-Bears in the wild card.
Thank God this rivalry finally delivered.
21-3 comeback from the Bears. I mean, I thought they were dead in the water, and Caleb Williams comes out and says, "Hold my nuts."
Yeah,
He did. You can't say anything else. Caleb Williams came into that first half and played like trash. In the second half, he said,
I really
"All right,
hope we get
hold
a
'em."
week 1 between these two teams next year. This is such a fun rivalry now.
I was kind of in this game hoping that they were going to pay for going for it on fourth so many times because
Yeah.
Ben Johnson just had Caleb Williams attempt so many fourth downs and they would just keep turning the ball over. Green Bay would capitalize, and it kind of looked like it was, the Green Bay was running away with it. But I guess in some way that installed some kind of confidence within Caleb Williams, and all of a sudden, the Packers just got cooked, and Brady was like, "Oh well, same thing, different year."
Well, do you want to know who else fueled the Chicago comeback? Brandon McManus.
Yep.
That was so funny.
Oh,
That was
I know
that
Connor
was
was hate watching.
bliss.
Yeah. The
Um,
Bears went nuts.
If you know anything about me, F North Penn.
Yeah, speaking about bad special teams, the Packers. I mean, Rich Bisaccia just stepped down. I mean, thank God, Packers fans probably have a party right now.
But I think the highlight of this game really showed the most about this season. 25 points in the fourth quarter from the Bears. This was the year of the fourth quarter.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Houston, Chicago,
Yep.
Denver, who we're going to talk about probably in a sec, because me and Connor and Don were on the same page.
Yeah, Houston had a plus 100 something point margin in the fourth quarter this
My favorite
season.
tweet this year was we need a Houston Chicago Super Bowl where it's 10-9 at halftime and then 49-50-44
Yeah.
at the end of the game.
That's very characteristic of this season.
All right, let's get number one. This number
Number
one
one.
game is
Number
the
one.
indisputable number one. In
This
my
is
opinion.
this is the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah, this is the game of the year. Rams Seahawks, week 16. I don't think there's anything you can argue with about this one. You guys can just go into this one. I feel like you guys can explain it a little better than me, but it was the Seahawks coming back from down 16, and that overtime was nuts.
I mean, at this time, I honestly didn't watch this game because I was busy doing something. I'm not going to say what, but it was for goodies and incentives at a local place that I like to go to every weekend. I'm
We
not
have a
going to say
local-
what that is.
We have a local candy store here
yes.
in Morgantown.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyways,
He was just going to Cold Stone.
yeah. The
Going
cold
get a
cream,
milkshake. Cold Cream Brewery.
the cold cream brewery. But yeah, this game came down to, of course, that 2-point conversion. And again, I don't know why NFL's kind of boring for putting. You should have just put this one in there and got rid of like one of the other ones, because there are some games that you generally disrespected and you just kept going over the same matchups. Kind of boring NFL.
Speaking of 2-point conversions, guess how many 2-point conversions they made in a row?
3. I think.
3. That's got to be some kind of record, man.
Yeah, I mean, that weird 2-point conversion is one of the most consequential plays of the year because that changed the season. Because if that play gets declined, the Rams are the 1 seed playing at SoFi. Maybe they're in the Super Bowl. Who knows? Maybe they win. Maybe they have another ring right now. I mean, just one of the most bizarre plays I can remember. But I think the main highlight for this game was watching Eric Salbert catch that game to win. I mean, Eric Salbert's a guy played for 11 different teams, drafted the 5th round out of Drake, the basketball school. Yep, that produces former West Virginia head coach. We're not going to say right now because we don't like him, but yeah, Eric Salbert played for 11 teams, only 420 career receiving yards. Just very awesome to see a guy like that who's a journeyman get his moment right there and kind of become a great piece of history for just a memorable season for Seattle in general.
Yeah, this game was absolutely insane, nuts. I was watching this, and I'm just most of the time my mouth was just like dropped. I'm like, really? How is this happening? Especially the 2-point conversion. The fact that you have to dive that far into a rule book and get a technicality for a 2-point conversion is just absolutely nuts and insane. It kind of just explains how nuts this game was in a nutshell. But it's back and forth between these two teams. I can't say anymore. It's just electric football. You can't beat it.
All right. So we're going to get into some of the snubs. I've got a game that I want to talk about that I think should have been on the list.
There's a clear snub. clear.
It didn't have any implications to the postseason, which sucks. But if you guys remember Week 2, the NFC East it was a absolute howitzer of a game. Giants-Cowboys overtime win for the Cowboys, where Russell Wilson threw for 450 yards, and he threw, I believe it was back-to-back 48-yard touchdowns. It was a 32-yard catch from Wan'Dale Robinson with 2 minutes left. That was 30-27 Giants. And then 2 minutes later, George Pickens catches a touchdown. And then 30 seconds later, Malik Neighbors catches a 50-yard touchdown from Russell Wilson. And then Brandon Aubrey ties it from 64 to send it to overtime. And then Brandon Aubrey hits a 46-yard field goal as time expires in overtime. This is one of my favorite games that I've ever watched live, and it was absolutely insane.
Another Cowboys game was the tie between
the Packers.
Yeah, Micah Parsons' return.
Yeah, won that game, man.
There's another Giants game that clearly got snubbed. Like, this game will never happen again, if you can guess which game that is.
It was Giants-Denver.
It was Broncos, wasn't it?
Yeah, how did that not get in the top 10? I mean, if we're talking for a team that put up 33 points in one half.
One quarter,
and come back and beat the Giants like that. And okay, so you start out the first half. The Giants, they're up. It's 13-0. 13-0. Denver gets they get to the end zone, but they get stopped on a 4th and goal. So, this goes all the way to, Giants get another touchdown. It's like 26-8. 26-8. And then Denver just starts going off in the fourth quarter. Like, if you watch the highlight reels, like 15 minutes of it is just purely the fourth quarter. So you go back-to-back touchdowns with 2-point conversions. Then Jackson Dart throws a pick. You go to R.J. Harvey for a touchdown. And then I believe Denver, they get a little bit of a – or was it the Giants? The Giants get a give me with Wan'Dale Robinson on a PI call, puts him right at the end zone. And then Jackson Dart goes in for a touchdown. Kicker, by the way, the kicker in the first half missed a PAT. He missed this PAT too. So now Denver's making up for those 2-point conversions that they're having. They then drive down the field, and I forget who scored. Oh, Bo Nix scrambles, goes into the end zone. And, okay, so I don't know what the score is at this point, but the Giants are ahead by 2. Giants, I think they don't have a successful drive. Denver drives down. They nail a 39-yard field goal. Denver wins by 1 point.
I think there's...
Boom. Done.
That was one of the craziest games ever.
Like, how do you not put that in the top 10, though? Like
33 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jackson Dart pick, that's one of the worst plays of the year. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't be running the ball right there. The worst thing you can do is throw a pick down, and he does that. And then the Broncos, again, kind of changed the season because the Broncos got the 1 seed off that.
Fun fact.
I guess for my snub, I have to go with... It wasn't a great game, but just watching Phillip Rivers play football in the year 2025 or 2026 was just incredible, man.
Dude.
And this game has aged so well because he only lost by 2 points to the Seahawks, who Super Bowl champion Seahawks, and that great dark side defense right there. Just such a fun, unique game and a really fun, unique year in the NFL. It wasn't a great game, but just a cool thing to see. A lot of Phillip Rivers will love coming in those couple of weeks. A guy who never really got that much during his playing career due to the era he played in.
Oh. Speaking, I don't know if it's necessarily game of the year, but it's just more of a funny game of the year, was Niners-Colts when Rivers was at home and 49ers just absolutely demolished him. But it's still Phillip Rivers balling and almost throwing 300 yards, and that alone deserves a game of the year.
Yeah, I think another mention that we could put in here was the one Emeka Ibuka breakout game where they beat the Seahawks. Do you remember that one?
The throwback bowl.
Yep. Remember when Levante David, I believe it was, that caught the interception because the Bucks were down 35-28 with a minute left. And then Sterling Shepard caught a touchdown, and then Levante David picked off Sam Darnold. I don't know why they wouldn't just run it a little bit, but it was 35-35, and then they get the pick, and then that sets up the game-winning field goal. That was a crazy game.
I'm not going to say it's a snub, but
on the road.
Maybe at number 10. No, this is more personal, but...
As a Jets Steelers.
No, it's
probably
Ravens Steelers because it was the last game of the regular season, Sunday Night Football.
That should have been on
there.
there.
It was whoever wins the game, this is make or break it for your season. Tyler Loop, 44
The
yards.
last ever
This
Tomlin
is-
Harbaugh matchup in the NFC North.
Right.
Yeah.
Announcer jinx of, this guy's perfect. They chose him for a purpose, a reason. Just absolutely.
Wide
and I
right.
was at this game. You knew the kick wasn't good as soon as it left. It went all the way to the right. Everyone was cheering. Fans were fighting at Acrisure. It was the best time of my life.
So it's just a
Pennsylvania
normal
moment.
week at Acrisure.
Pennsylvania
basically.
moment. That's some real Pennsylvania stuff right there. Win or lose, we hit each other.
Real.
That's more of a Philly thing. But that'll do it for our coverage for you guys of the games of the year. There's a couple off-season things that we could talk about right now. We're going to be pretty short. But one that I want to talk about is the Dolphins. What is going on in Miami? Because they're cutting pretty much everyone on the roster. It feels like they're trying to just strip that roster down to bare bones. More new roster cuts would be Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, James Daniels, who they thought was going to be a pretty good offensive lineman for them, and Nick Westbrook-Ikine. But I think what RJ mentioned earlier, they're exploring trades for Minka. So it looks like they're just trying to create a bunch of dead money.
Well,
No, I
there's
guess.
one man on that roster that has a lot of it.
Tua.
That is what?
Tua.
It's some
Tua.
insane number of
99 or something.
98.
54 mil
I thought
a
it was
year.
99.
54 a year.
wasn't it? Oh yeah,
Because he was $1 million short of Burrow.
I mean, I don't think Tyreek Hill's ever going to be the same player again. I mean, just watch that leg injury, man. I don't think he ever get back to the guy he was. But I think Bradley Chubb can help the team out a lot this year if he can sign somewhere productive.
So if Tua's cut before June 1st, it's $99.2 million in dead money. Because that extension was pretty recent.
So,
Boom, gone.
wow.
That's why all these cuts are happening.
So Google AI right here, who's where I'm finding a lot of this information. ABC News has it. The key offseason roster moves. Tyreek, Bradley Chubb, James Daniels, Nick Westbrook-Ikine, and Tua's on the list. It says not released, but considered a major high-cost cap risk. 54+ mil guaranteed. Crazy.
That's pretty.
That's like
that
some-
might be one of the worst contracts in NFL history.
That's even more than Deshaun
I
I
Watson.
think the
might-
Browns take the
might-
cake
Hey,
for that one.
hey.
Brown,
But
Daniel Jones.
they've got
At least,
two.
at least he's still on the roster.
They've got two of the worst contracts that I've ever seen, in my opinion.
Who's the other
Deshaun
one?
Watson and Austin Hooper.
Oh, I think a good way to sum
for
this
tight
up
end
is
money. Yeah.
I saw a TikTok the other day of this actual dolphin throwing a football. I opened the comments section up and it said, "Wow, I guess he's better than Tua too."
That's not hard. That's really not hard.
The thing is, though, if they keep Tua through this year, say they want to do that next year, then around this time, the dead cap goes down to 31
That's
from
actually
99.
that's doable.
It's doable, but they don't. The regime doesn't want him.
Yeah, they don't.
They would rather say we will take about $68 million more in money just to get rid of you now than to wait a year. That says a lot.
It's because they had a GM change, and the GM came in and named 5 untouchables, and Tua wasn't a part of it.
I mean,
It's the
Who are
Miami
these
Packers.
untouchables?
Well, Achan's one of them.
Okay,
H.M.
guaranteed.
Waddle.
It was Achan, Waddle, and I believe 3 defensive players.
Yeah, I don't really. They basically just gutted this team, so.
yeah. Dom, what's your storyline, Dom?
My storyline, well, I had quite a few. I'm sure we'll go over it tomorrow. Another plug-in 2-minute drill hosted by RJ.
Hey.
Wow, look at that. I'm
Look at
plugging
that.
in multiple podcasts here. Notice I'm plugging in the ones that I actually like. But my storyline, I'm sure, is, there's a lot of questions or who or what will go where, kind of extended on the Miami story. Where's Tyreek going to go? Where is AJ Brown is being considered to go somewhere. George Pickens, there's been talks about him going other places. It's weird because you can see, okay, is Tyreek Hill at this point, can he even play at the level he was at from his injury? Is he going to be a Tennessee Titan or Baltimore Raven and be considered washed? Is A.J. Brown going to – I mean, what I like specifically here is that A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill could reunite with their former coaches. A.J. Brown going to the Patriots to get with Vrabel, and Tyreek Hill going to the Chargers to get, Mike McDaniel, even though he's the OC.
Yeah, I guess for my story for the offseason, I was going to talk about this is going to be one of the most bizarre quarterback carousels I can remember because so many teams need quarterbacks, and there's aren't that many. There's really only one kind of consensus first-round draft quarterback, and that's Fernando Mendoza, who's going to go to the Raiders, obviously. Ty Simpson's getting some buzz up there right now. I think he will probably go in the first round, but, I mean, he's not a guy you think you can start right away. He's probably more a developmental guy. I mean, the Raiders need a quarterback. I mean, we can basically cross them off. So they're going to get Mendoza. The Jets, the Cardinals, the Browns probably need a quarterback. They can roll with Shootout for another year.
They're not going to go for anybody.
Miami definitely needs one. I think the Falcons might want to bring some more. I think the Vikings might want to bring a guy in, and obviously the Steelers are still waiting on a Rodgers decision right now.
There's one interesting thing that I want to see play out this offseason, and it's what Houston are going to do with their quarterback.
Houston could be. I mean, I think given they could definitely be a sneaky try to get a veteran backup in there right now.
Did you see what their reporter said? He said if CJ gets traded or if he's not the starting QB, he's basically waltzing around naked in like their biggest street in the city. That's a real thing. Look it up. It's
That's
a real
crazy.
And then there's the Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett debate.
There's not many good high quality quarterbacks. I mean, I was seeing rumors that the Cardinals looking at Tyson Bagent for their quarterback spot.
The Cardinals?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that's how just desperate it is now.
Because I think Arizona's looking to move off of Kyler.
They
What
don't
about
want
Jacoby?
they're done
He's
with
clearly
Kyler.
good. Better than Tyson
I would
Bagent.
say
Jacoby's ancient. He's
But
like
he's
I would
38.
so.
If I were a betting man, and we do not condone gambling here on U92 The Moose, if I were a betting man, I would bet all my money that Jacoby Brissett's the opening day starter for the
I'd be
Cardinals.
fine with that.
I wouldn't be
I'd
shocked.
cool with that.
But you're going to see some weird names get some quarterback jobs this year. I think Tanner McKee's a guy you're hearing a lot about because Philadelphia's been a quality backup for a while.
Malik
Last year
Willis.
with a contract. Malik Willis is a guy who's probably going to be the hot commodity. He might get a big Matt Flynn type bag. Hopefully, he can be better than Matt Flynn. But just look out, because give me some weird quarterbacks this year. Because just given the supply and demand kind of economics of that market,
Can
right
we
there.
see Josh Jobs coming back?
No.
The pastronaut?
Speaking of quarterbacks and moves regarding quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, cap restructure, $43.6 million in automatic money for Kansas City right now. And there was also somebody else in the Kansas City area today. I don't know if you guys know him or anything, by the name of Tyreek Hill. Since he was cut, he can sign with any team at any time.
He's a
He doesn't have
Jet.
to wait like other free agents. He might come back. Chris Jones is trying to recruit him, but that $43.6 million allows Kansas City to spend. They might be back, and it's a shame on everybody.
That's okay.
Why?
They play against a tougher division now, so good luck to them next year. Best of luck to them.
I feel like the thing with Kansas City is they need a jump ball receiver. They have so many speedy guys, but they just don't have that true jump ball guy. I know
Wait.
Rashee Rice is more of that guy for them, but
he
he's a
just got
speed
some.
demon.
Worthy's
He's been in the news today for some not so good reasons.
I'm
so.
not surprised. It's every year at this
Rashee
point.
Rice. Xavier Worthy is more of a gadget player, I guess. You can use him in multiple schemes, kind of a screen pass guy. You can send him down if necessary, but I've seen them use him in a lot of like weirder plays or RPOs.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of missing. I feel like Tyreek Hill isn't the answer for the Chiefs. I feel like they need that physical receiver. I know Tyreek Hill, he's probably going to be out most of next year, if not the full season. But I know Patrick Mahomes is probably going to come back like mid-season next year, or is it like the first couple weeks? I think he's coming back.
First couple weeks, I think is what he shoots.
Is their backup still Minshew?
Gardner Minshew. Yep. I'm willing to see what they're going to do there because I don't know if they're going to keep Gardner Minshew around. He could be a quality backup for a championship contending
might
team.
want to start him this year.
You know
Could
what?
be a good trade quality.
You know what I think? There's a lot of interesting backups in the NFL right now. I think there's a few teams that I'm really excited to see next year. I think there's going to be a lot more parity in the divisions next year because you saw a lot of the teams at the lower parts of their divisions. The Saints figured out what they needed at quarterback. The Titans fixed their coaching problem. And I think there's going to be a lot of parity
Robert
in
Saleh
those.
does not fix that problem.
They have Brian Dable.
Brian Dable
They have
fixes
Brian
that
Dable with a
problem.
former number 1 overall pick at
I never
quarterback.
thought
That's
going
going
to
to be fun.
Well,
in my
you-
life, bro.
I mean, they should just do a Mr. Clean commercial because their
Yeah.
whole coaching staff is bald.
The Chrome Domes.
Yeah.
Two of the backups who may have been in the market were former Patriots.
Yeah. But that is going to do it for us here at Stirring the Pot this week. We'll be back at you guys next week. We don't know what we're going to do just yet, but we're going to have some fun off-season content as always. Peace out. See y'all next week.